Good night, Malaysia 370. Those words, spoken by Captain Zahari Ahmad Shah at 1:19 a.m. on March 8, 2014, were the last communication from a Boeing 777 with 239 people aboard that vanished moments later without a mayday, distress signal, or explosion, becoming aviation's greatest mystery that remains unsolved 10 years later. Malaysia Airlines Flight 370 departed Kuala Lumpur at 12:41 a.m. bound for Beijing, with 227 passengers and 12 crew on a routine overnight flight, with Captain Zahari Ahmad Shah 18,000 flight hours and First Officer Farik Abdul Hamid 2,800 hours, flying a Boeing 777-200ER with excellent safety record. And for 37 minutes, everything was normal, as ACARS sent routine data at 1:01 a.m. showing altitude 35,000 feet and all systems nominal, until at 1:19 a.m. when Kuala Lumpur handed the flight to Vietnamese controllers, saying good night, and Captain Zahari responded with those final words. But the plane never checked in with Vietnam, because at 1:21 a.m. the transponder stopped transmitting, and Flight 370 vanished from civilian radar, while Vietnamese controllers waited in confusion before calling Kuala Lumpur, with precious time lost to miscommunication, until at 2:15 a.m., nearly an hour later, search and rescue finally began heading to the South China Sea, but MH370 wasn't there, because Malaysian military radar had captured something shocking. An unidentified aircraft that turned back, crossed the peninsula heading west, following navigational waypoints with precision that required knowledge and training, passing over Penang, Captain Zahari's hometown, before turning northwest up the Strait of Malacca and disappearing from military radar at 2:22 a.m. over the Andaman Sea, though the plane didn't crash then. 1 week later, on March 15th, Malaysian authorities announced that MH370 had flown for hours after vanishing, with evidence from Inmarsat, whose satellite, 22,000 miles above the Indian Ocean, had automatically pinged the aircraft's communication system once per hour in 7 handshakes, with the last one at 8:19 a.m., 7 hours after the last radio call. And engineers analyzing the Doppler effect in the frequency shifts determined 2 possible flight corridors, a northern arc toward Kazakhstan or a southern arc into the Indian Ocean. But every nation on the northern corridor checked their military radar and found nothing, which meant MH370 flew south into one of Earth's most remote regions until computer models concluded the plane flew until fuel exhaustion, and even predicted where debris would wash up years later, thousands of miles away, predictions that proved right. The search became the most expensive in aviation history, with 26 countries contributing vessels, planes, and satellites, while autonomous underwater vehicles descended to depths averaging 12,000 feet, mapping the seafloor with side-scan sonar. But despite searching 120,000 square kilometers over 2 years at $150 million cost, they found 0 wreckage before the official search was suspended in January 2017. Though by then the ocean had started revealing secrets when on July 29, 2015, a wing fragment washed up on Réunion Island, 4,000 miles from the search zone, with a serial number matching MH370, followed by 26 more confirmed pieces across Mozambique, South Africa, Madagascar, Mauritius, and Tanzania. Engine cowlings, interior panels, fragments carried by currents, proving the plane crashed into the southern Indian Ocean, though the main wreckage remained hidden in the depths. Reconstructing the final hours shows that at 1:19 a.m. came the last radio contact. At 1:21 a.m., someone physically turned off the transponder. It doesn't fail accidentally. then immediately executed a deliberate, controlled left turn as the aircraft followed pre-programmed waypoints. And between 1:21 and 1:40 a.m., the plane climbed to 40,000 feet, then descended rapidly in what one theory suggests was deliberate depressurization, causing passengers and crew to lose consciousness in seconds, while someone with cockpit oxygen survived. Then, by 2:30 a.m., the aircraft was on autopilot heading south for 6 hours with no course changes or communication, until at 8:19 a.m. the fuel ran out, triggering the final satellite ping as backup power briefly activated when the main engines failed, followed by a silent, powerless descent and impact. But this explains what happened, not why, and suspicion fell on Captain Zahari after investigators found he'd practiced a similar route on his home flight simulator into the southern Indian Ocean, ending in fuel exhaustion and crash, though his family insists he was dedicated and professional with no signs of depression or extremism, while First Officer Fatek, at 27, had no red flags or motive, and every other theory has flaws, whether hijacking, no demands, terrorism, no evidence, or mechanical failure, doesn't explain the deliberate turn. 10 years later, 239 families live without closure, as those who boarded that plane expecting to land in Beijing never arrived. And in a world where we can track smartphones anywhere with GPS and satellites, a 200-ton aircraft simply vanished, though new searches have been proposed with better technology, because Ocean Infinity has offered to search again on a no-find, no-fee basis, because somewhere in an area the size of West Virginia, beneath 12,000 feet of water, lies the truth, the black boxes, the cockpit voice recorder, the flight data recorder with final moments preserved. And until that wreckage is found, families remain without answers or graves to visit, as Malaysia Flight 370 reminds us that even in our hyper-connected world, some mysteries remain beyond our reach, leaving us to wonder what happened in those final hours, while for now, the ocean keeps its secrets.